Hey everyone, how are you guys doing?
Hi, happy
Oh,
Wednesday.
yes, happy Wednesday. I know that we're doing the book club a week early due to Thanksgiving next week. We've
Yep.
got a lot of people here. Ryan's here. It's just Gail, Renee, Julie, Ellen, Jacoby. Hi guys, how are you doing? You guys having a good day?
It
Or
was
a good
hot
night?
here in San Diego. It was like 84 today.
Really? I
Yeah,
think
I
it
know.
was
Where
it
is
was
my winter?
69. It was 69 here.
That's much more doable.
Yes, yes. It's very windy though. Very, very windy. Hey, Lisa.
It's the other Lisa.
The other Lisa. I wonder if we'll have the triple threat of Lisas.
Oh,
Because I know
that's
we
right.
have another Lisa that normally comes on here too.
There's three of us.
Yes.
By the way,
So,
Lisa, your daughter is gorgeous. I saw, because I'm never on social media, but I was flashing through and I saw you put a happy birthday to her. So,
yeah, your daughters are just stunning. You make very, very pretty babies.
mhm.
Very much so. And Lisa also posts a lot of food that she's cooking on her Facebook. And I'm always like vicariously living through her food, like wishing it was in my stomach. And I'm just like, "God, that looks so good. It looks so good." I love it.
Do you
So
guys
how
ever
did you
get
guys,
box sets to your house?
huh?
Like, do you guys ever get Blue Apron or anything or HelloFresh?
So at the beginning of quarantine, I was getting HelloFresh sent to us because everything else was out at our grocery stores. So HelloFresh would send me, 3 new meals, and when Aaron was working at the house with me, I'd make us HelloFresh for lunch and dinner, and it was really nice.
Huh.
Yeah. What about you?
I've actually been getting a lot of purple carrot lately. I'm not even vegan, but I don't know, I just like the options they've had lately.
I've never heard of that.
It's really good. I will send you a box. I get so many boxes. Like after you do so many boxes, you get a credit for a free box that you can give away.
Huh.
I will send you one.
I would love to try that. I'm always down to trying new foods.
Yeah. And so if Ben's around, I'll have to get chicken or something because he's like, who's heard of a meal without meat?
He needs his protein.
Yeah.
Lisa says she cooks from scratch. So I'm hoping I made my grandmother had heart surgery a week before last, and then my sister had hip surgery. So I made my grandmother a chicken pot pie. Everything was from scratch except for the dough. And I'm going to challenge myself this weekend to make a dessert pie from scratch. So put in the comments some pies that you absolutely love that aren't like super hard to make, because of course I'm a beginner at pie making. So don't say like this amazing thing with truffles and yada yada yada. I'm not gonna something
You're like
easy.
actually going to make the dough from scratch too?
Yeah, I'm gonna make the dough from scratch and everything. So my mother-in-law has a recipe. I think it's from her mom or her mother-in-law. That is they named it the no fail dough or something like that, and it seems very simple. And so I'm going to try and do the family dough and see how well I can do it.
All right. Sounds fun. Because being a working mom isn't enough. You're like, I also want to make food from scratch, churn
Yeah,
some butter. Yeah.
exactly. I know I felt so bad that I've barely been able to post like one video a week. Like the week that my grandmother and my sister, like it was Nani had surgery on Monday and my sister had surgery on Tuesday. And so
Wow.
that week I was like, there is no way I can film. I was like, mm-mm. And
Are they
then
okay?
yeah, so my Nani had to have heart surgery to correct a valve. And then my sister had to have basically her whole right hip realigned. So they're doing all right, but they're still, my sister can't even go back to work until January.
If then, I mean, that's like a major multi-axial joint.
Yeah, exactly. So she's doing physical therapy every week and all of that stuff.
Wow.
Ooh, people are saying sweet potato pie.
Oh.
Ooh, I've never had a sweet potato pie.
I'm not a fan. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like it. And so at the time I was like, I don't want to spend calories on this when I could have a chocolate silk pie.
Yeah.
I don't know, something else.
My husband's favorite pie is a chocolate silk pie. He loves it.
Yeah, they're really good.
Apparently, Renee says there's a website called Eat Your Books. Eat Your Books? As I search this up right now, there is. It's a community of cookbook lovers and discover that Eat Your Books is a great way to make a better use of your collections.
Cool.
That's interesting. I will be looking at that more. That sounds amazing. I love your picture, Renee.
Yeah, right. Every time I see that.
You'll love it, especially with homemade whipped cream.
Oh.
Lisa says she's making pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie for Thanksgiving. So how are y'all doing Thanksgiving? I'm just wondering, as we allow more people to come on for a little bit longer before we start talking about the book, how are y'all doing Thanksgiving?
I made a reservation at a steak restaurant.
Oh, nice.
So it's one of those places that's super expensive with the $4 signs, but because it's Thanksgiving, it's actually only $49 a person. So ironically, it's cheaper to go for Thanksgiving than a normal meal.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So like my side of the family, we're not doing anything because my mom's side of the family is really, really big. And normally we do a whole shindig at Nani's. But since Nani just had surgery, we're not going to go over there because she's 73 and we don't want to have a big, huge thing. And then I think Aaron's mom and dad and sister might come to our house or we might go over to their house and have like a small thing. But yeah, let's see. Renee, Clue is my favorite movie and Scarlet is my gamer name. I love that. Just my husband, my mom and dad, and my 2 daughters here at home. That sounds so comfy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thanksgiving is your birthday? Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy early birthday.
Julie agrees with the steak restaurant idea. Yes, yes. All right. So, let's get started talking about the book. So the book was 12 Sleighs of Christmas. Give me some ratings. How did you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 5? I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought I liked it a lot.
Same here. This is the first time in a while Courtney and I both agreed. I love this book. I'm already halfway through the second.
Are you? I just bought the second book yesterday. When I was texting you, I was like, the second book is $1.99 on Kindle right now, guys. So if you really, really enjoyed it, you can totally go and get it on Kindle for $1.99. I'm super stoked.
But you might want to wait to the end because we are giving away a hardcover of book number 2 to somebody today.
Yes. So maybe wait till the end. Wraith, is that a -3 out of 5 or is it a 3 out of 5? Because it says -3 out of 5. I'm just making sure, Wraith. I don't want to. Oh shit! Wraith said, "Just kidding." Oh, I see a lot. Lisa says that she's already read the second one and is waiting for the third. That's fantastic. Ellen gave it a 5. Julie gave it a 5. Jacoby gave it a 4. Very, very nice. So it looks like I mean, for the most part, we really liked this series as a whole. High five us. Good job, us.
That we read a Christmas book early. Because last time, I don't know why, December was almost too late. I know that sounds odd.
No, I agree. It sort of like ramped me up to want to finish my Christmas decorations in the house and like gave me that cozy vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So Renee rated it a 4.5. Do we want to sort of break down like do you do the synopsis?
Oh, sure. I mean, you know me, I have notes.
She does. She's so much better than me. This is the only book I've read this month.
I'm actually not very good at summarizing, but I'll start and then do you want to finish?
Yes.
Or just plug in while I'm talking. So Holly works at the Hearth Cafe, which is also, they have the reindeer games. It's a family business. Her grandfather did it. And so every year they do it during Christmas. And so this is definitely a Christmas book. So anyways, her ex dumped her and it didn't even sound like she was that far. I guess it was like one city in Maine to another city in Maine.
Yeah.
It was a fake city.
Yeah. Her ex dumped her for a yoga instructor.
Yeah. A yoga instructor.
Like really young.
So she packed everything up and moved home. I mean, she's not like a geriatric senior citizen or something. So she's only 26 years old. So yeah, I was like, because I went back to read her age because I was like, it sounds like she's 35 or something. The way she made it.
She's a baby.
Yeah. And then there was Dolores Cutter, who's also called Cookie Cutter, and she sells Holly's earrings for her. So she just kind of like as a side hobby makes earrings, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, your earrings are so cute!" And so Dolores has a shop, but I think they just call her Cookie throughout the whole thing until you get to book 2. Then they start over and they're like Dolores, but it's Cookie. And then she is, though, an older senior citizen type of person.
She's my favorite sassy old lady.
Yeah. She
have to have one.
The old lady sass down. And then Margaret Fenwick is the victim that gets bludgeoned to death right outside of the Hearth Cafe. She also is 65 years old and doesn't really seem to be liked by anyone, but I feel like she was misunderstood. She was the president, or she worked at the Historical Society for Mistletoe, and she was like, I would say, overly dedicated to ensuring everything stayed up to code. And I don't know how it works. I know in New York City, the Historical Society determines like whether or not you can paint stuff or like do anything. So it sounds like she has that same kind of power there. But because it's a small town, nobody actually applies for permits. They just do whatever they want and ignore her.
Yeah, that basically is what it sounded like. But it sounded like she was ticking people off because she was going harder after things that she hadn't apparently gone after before she was trying to fix the bridge, is sort of what I was picking up from it. I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
I mean, when you're 65, do you have anything else really to focus on?
True story, yes.
Like, this is my mission. So then there's a 31-year-old Sheriff Evan who moved to Mistletoe from Boston because he was sick of all of the murders and just wanted a quiet life. And his ex, I guess he ignored because the job came first. They didn't really get into anything with that except to just point out that he was now single. And he is just kind of this friendly, nice guy. And there's a lot of romantic segues and like flirting going on between the two of them throughout the book.
I thought the flirting was really well done.
Yeah. It was subtle, but fun. And then Wendy is a librarian, right? At the Busy, but she used to be a librarian, but now she works at the Busy Bean making coffee. I don't think she's important to the rest of the story. I just wrote it down because every time someone says a character, I'm like, oh my God, is it the murderer? I don't know. Let me write it down. That's how I read murder mysteries. Paula Beach is Margaret's nemesis, and possibly everyone thinks she is the murderer, but she has this really sad story where she had a fiance when she was like 17 or 18. He went off to war and never came back. And so she was like, you only get one love for the rest of your life. And so now at 65 years old, she is still single, and her property is right next door to the bridge that the victim was trying to get a grant from a National Historical Grant Society to help restore because her family took a picture in front of it every year.
Yes, every year. And Miss Fenwick had lost both her son and her husband. So she was all by herself. So that's what she was trying to do, was trying to get the National Preservation Society to come and fix that bridge so that it would be forever, unlike her husband and son.
There's also another meaningless character, Jenna Montclair, who owns a gallery. She popped up in the story. And then there's there's Ray Griggs, who's a reporter and a photographer. And he lives at home with his mom because she had some issues, and so he's just trying to help her out.
Oh, yeah, his dad died.
Yeah, his dad died. And so she is 4 years older than him. Like, she was a senior when he was a freshman, but he has like some obsessive crush on her. I mean, high school, I guess, was only 10 years ago for the two of them. So yeah, so he like remembers everything about her, and he's single, but he's not like creepy. He just keeps flirting with her. So you're not sure if it's going to be him or Sheriff Evans.
Which, of course, is going to be Sheriff Evans. Like,
right. Yeah. And then Mr. Fleece, who is the reindeer manager that works for Holly's dad. And so he does not like Margaret, and he's worried that she's going to she already taxed his livestock, or his reindeer. They're not reindeer, they're deer, as livestock. And so that would implicate him in a higher tax bracket or something.
Yeah, whereas he stated that they were more domesticated animals that could not live without his help, because he was afraid that if she continued to try and push the matter, that the state would tell him to release the reindeer or the deer, and they would die because they didn't know how to be anything else but domesticated.
And then, I'm embarrassed to say, Cindy Lou is her cat, but for some reason I was like, is Cindy Lou a person? Who is this person? It's a cat. She just calls her cat Cindy Lou. The thing that was confusing is she was living in her parents' guest house, even though her parents have some fabulously massive 20-bedroom house or something. And so at one point she was like, I was scared. She was scared. And I was like, I don't know why you wouldn't just go home. Like, if I was going to move home after being dumped, I would just move in with my parents. Although I don't have parents with a separate house. So I don't know. Maybe if I had that option.
I think that maybe her thought process with staying out in the carriage was to still give her parents privacy and wallow in her pity of her not marriage, is what I could see.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm an only child, so I just like force myself upon my parents all the time.
She thought Cindy was a person at first too.
It's a person name. And then, so then we have Whiskers, who is the cat of the victim, who actually Sheriff Evans really liked and was checking on. And then Holly's like, I need to take the cat because no one's taking care of the cat. And then later she realizes actually the sheriff probably won the cat. And so she gives him the cat, which is very cute. Who else? Carolyn West. I almost forgot Carolyn. So Carolyn West, she makes her sound like she was this mean girl, but I think she was just a really pretty girl in high school that was popular and didn't talk to her. And now is like her best friend, and she wants to open up a cupcake bakery. And then the Cookie Cutter invests in the cupcake bakery with her to help her run it.
Because Cookie Cutter is a millionaire because she won the lottery. So she still works at the farm and sells all the Christmas goodies and stuff just because she wants to. And I love that she's willing to invest in Caroline's cupcake shop.
And then there is Mr. France, who is really Caleb France, but sometimes she calls him Mr. France. And he worked with the victim at the Historical Society. And so each time she goes back to get information from him, he's kind of snippy and rude and it sounds like he's lying, but it sounds like he was lied to. So it's a little confusing. So you're not sure if he was the killer or not. And then there is, spoiler alert, the killer is Mr. Nettle, who honestly was mentioned for like 2 seconds. When he came up as the killer, I was like, oh, I had no idea he was the killer, because he is the accountant for her parents for the farm and for the Historical Society. And he was skimming money off the top, getting grants, and then just keeping the money instead of letting the victim know that they had won the grant. And so that's why he had killed her. But he was also he was doing all these super secret stealthy things where you're like, is this guy a superhero? Like, how did he get there and back without her noticing and putting
and being like an older guy?
Yeah.
He was an older gentleman. And so that was kind of how did you, he did a lot of psychological, messing around with her and stuff. But I started suspecting him when she went to go drop off his hat.
Okay, yeah, towards the end. Well, here's what I didn't understand. Remember, she took a nap at her house, or her guest house, and then all of a sudden she woke up after falling asleep for an hour with the cats laying on top of her, both cats, and all the windows were open. She's like, I almost froze to death, which I feel like I didn't believe that. I definitely would wake up at a temperature change, unless he had drugged her, but he hadn't. So that's why I was like, I don't know if he's really that notorious, because it sounded like it was 5 o'clock or something. Like they hadn't even had dinner yet, right?
I think that she was waiting for her parents to come home at 7 so that they could have dinner, because they had put a roast in the oven. But it sounds like she had a really, really, really terrifying, if I'm trying to put it all correctly, she had a terrifying night and didn't sleep at all the night before. And so she was really, really exhausted. But I'm a very, if I get cold, I'm awake.
Yeah.
So, for it to be that cold, I don't know if anybody in the chat is from a cold state. I live in Oklahoma, so, it gets cold here, but then it automatically gets really, really warm. It goes back and forth. It's sort of very crazy that way. So I don't know if it could have gotten cold enough for her to, in that amount of time, an hour amount of time, for it to be detrimental to her, because she was making it seem as though if she had slept much longer, she wouldn't be alive. And when the sheriff came to see her, she was wrapped up in all of these different layers and everything like that. So I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I just didn't. Yeah, other than that, that was probably the only scene where I was a double eye roll. You're not going to freeze to death in your own house with 2 cats on top of you. Plus, when the cat gets, I don't know about your cats, but when Lucky gets cold, he starts meowing. And he wants to crawl under the covers.
Well, and then the other thing, if someone comes into the house, my cats freak out. And so if they would have been laying on me and somebody opened the front door and was coming in, they would have jumped off of me and probably scratched me, which would have then woken me up, and I would have been able to see what was going on.
And there'd be a lot of hissing going on. Kitty hissing.
Yes. Renee says, fun fact, a 71-year-old man recently stole a street pole in Florida. The article I read, it seemed like he was by himself. Both those men have superpowers. You're not wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you work out a lot, look at who's older. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He looks like he's still 25. Sylvester Stallone. Right. They all look great. Those guys could definitely come in and do some superhero stuff inside, and you'd never know.
Yeah. But Mr. Nettle killed Miss Fenwick because she found out that he stole the money from so they had a mill that they were wanting to get restored by the Historical Society, but Mr. Nettle told Miss Fenwick that it got denied. So in Miss Fenwick's mind, she said, okay, then I'm going to apply for another one for the bridge. And then Miss Fenwick found out when she talked to the people that it did get approved for the mill to get fixed. And then she went and talked to the accountant. And then that's when he killed her. And then they also found out that the reason why Holly's parents weren't doing as well, it was every season they would make just barely enough to get by until the next season. And it was because Mr. Nettle was also skimming from the top for that, basically keeping the golden goose going, but just barely going so that it could continue to go. Yeah.
Yeah, there have been huge schemes where, because I do human resources, they're always don't ignore the pennies. There was this guy that took millions of dollars because he took 1 or 2 pennies from everyone's paycheck. And so no one's I'm off by 5 cents. You'd feel silly reporting that. So at the end of the day, because there were so many employees and so much time, it added up to millions.
That's ridiculous. That makes me want to go and look at all of because I get paid monthly, one time a month, and my paycheck is literally divided for 12 months of the year. I should go and see are there pennies missing?
Yep, there could be.
Yeah.
So did we want to talk about? The only thing that I would say did kind of bother me, and this is like, maybe I'm just extra sensitive to this. I don't know why there has to be fat shaming in books. Like, so the old sheriff was like fat. She just kept saying how fat he was and food. Like, I was like, why do you have to be so
How
mean?
he was unhealthy and different things like that. Yeah, I'm like, I'm curvy. I'm a curvy girl. Like, so whenever I see someone talking about someone's weight or anything like that, I'm like, listen, I'm a size 12. Like, come at me. I am not itty bitty. I like to eat. Like, so I agree. I don't like
that cheap shot. Like, it doesn't endear me to her, and I didn't like laugh with her. I was just mortified. She even called the cat fat. I was like, oh my gosh, leave the cat alone.
Yes. No, I agree. But what else? What did you guys think of Sheriff? It's Ryan, right? Sheriff Ryan.
Sheriff Evans. I don't remember his first. Sheriff Evan Gray. Sheriff Gray.
Yes, Sheriff Evan Gray. I really liked him as a character. Like, I don't normally like ship characters ever, really, but I really liked him and how he handled her. Like, I liked how it did seem almost believable that they could have worked together, like in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he seemed to like give her some information, but not too much where it was inappropriate. And then he'd cut her off and be like, this is a police investigation.
Yep, exactly. Lisa says, I agree, Courtney, I'm curvy too. I'm a size 8'10". And then Renee, fat shaming and 30 shaming. Maybe I notice more as I'm 33, but 30 is not old, and it's okay not to have it all together. I couldn't agree more. I shared something on my personal Facebook. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, and it basically had two pictures side by side. And it was like my mom at 31, and it was the mom in like very 90s looking, having like a 11-year-old and like a 6-year-old. And then it says me at 31, and she's on her phone, has her laptop, drinking a latte or whatever, but doesn't have kids, doesn't have a husband. And then it said, it's okay. And then the next one like went down, and it was like, you know, someone else being a mom at 35, and then me not being a mom at 35. And it just goes back and forth. And it was beautiful illustrations pointing out that it's okay to be where you're at your age, and however you are doing things. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm 46 and I still don't know what I'm doing in life.
Bro, you don't even look 46 in any way, shape, or form.
Thanks.
At all. Like, I literally thought you might be like maybe 4 or 5 years older than me when we first met.
Ha.
Not lying. I was like, whenever you told me your age for the first time, I was like, no way. No, not at all. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the book. I know we don't have a book for, do we have a book for Christmas? I know
we have baking cozies for next month, and we voted, and the winner is the book that you chose.
Yay! So that one was
it's not dough.
No, it was, I have it on my phone. For some reason I'm having
kneading to dough.
Oh, kneading why am I having a hard time thinking about words?
Kneaded to Death.
Kneaded to Death by Winnie Archer. So the book for next month is Kneaded to Death.
A Bread Shop Mystery.
Yes, by Winnie Archer, who is also, she also writes as Melissa Bourbon, and I just found this out, and she is one of my absolute favorite authors. I'm like finding out all these people are like having their pseudonyms. And it drives me insane because I feel horrible whenever I don't get to support my favorite authors because they aren't using their names. But Kneaded to Death right now is $1.99 on Kindle. So if you are an e-reader, you can go check that out.
Plus, it's a trad book, so you could I downloaded it for free from the library.
There you go. You can also get it from the library. Oh, I was looking at Aaron Baccaris's The Murder Club series by James Patterson. I don't know what that is. I mean, I haven't ever read it. But
Club series. It's a series. I don't know. Maybe she's just saying she's looking at it.
Okay. Yeah. But we do have a giveaway from Crooked Lane Books.
So I would say there's probably at least, 40 comments?
Yeah, I would say at least 40 comments. At least 40.
Hey, Google, give us a random number between 1 and 40.
Here's a random number, 5.
Okay,
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Julie P. It looks like you won. Are you still in the comments? If you're still in the comments, then say that you are, and we will. Lisa will put in her email, and you can send her your information to get it. Let's see. I will wait. Julie, are you here? I hope you're here. Julie's here. Yay!
Yay! Do you know my email already, Julie? Otherwise, I can add it.
Hi, Ellen. It's so good to see you. Sherry says that her Google said 2. When you said, hey, Google, her Google said 2. I love that. So, like, we're a Google Home as well because of my husband. He loves Google and Android stuff. And anytime I'm watching my YouTube videos on the TV and someone asks Google to do something, like all of our Googles start talking all at the same time. And it's very like, I'm like, no.
I can't put my email address in. Google is blocking me.
What is your email address?
It's Lisa at prettyfabulousdesigns.com.
prettyfabulousdesigns.com. Did I spell fabulous right? F-A-B.
Or I sent an email out, was it yesterday? So if you just replied to that, that would be me.
I think I'm spelling fabulous wrong.
F-A-B-O-L-O-U-S. No,
F-A-B-U-L-O-U-S, right? I think that, like, pretty sure I spelled it right, but, like, I've been looking at it. I spelled it correctly. Ha!
Or you can DM me on Facebook.
But, yeah.
Either way.
I have been looking at a computer every single day, like, for 10 plus hours because of work. So I'm like, words start, like, being weird. And I'm like, did I spell that correctly? I don't know. Did I? All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else you want to talk about, we can wrap up book club. I'm so glad that I was able to make it. Alex still has the sniffles pretty bad, but we've got his humidifier running and with eucalyptus oil to help clear out his passages. Being in daycare is so much fun. So, but.
And then don't forget, next month, we're meeting early again.
Yes, we are. So, and then you guys can also follow us on our social medias and also look at our Facebook page as well for any fun things. Lisa posts all these fun little things on like Christmas decor for the front door. Which one's your favorite? And different things like that. So it's fantastic. But I think that I think we're good.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week and an amazing Thanksgiving. We'll see you next month.
Yep.
Bye, guys.